Hey, go ahead and make my day. Go ahead and make my day. Did you know? Did you know that Clint Eastwood's 95 and he completed a movie, directed it, probably wrote it too, called Juror, Julor number 2. In a jury, he was number 2. But he didn't play the part because he was directing it. It was played by someone 100 years old instead of 90 years old. So don't get too excited about dying. I just got off the phone. We talked about this. He remembered the go ahead and make my day. He saw that. And I said, well, look, if he's 95 and you're 96, and the person that plays his part in the movie is 100, what are you worried about at 96? By golly. We tend to worry after we're over 65, don't we? I was so worried at 62 that I went on Social Security. I closed my corporation down because they said if you take Social Security, you can't be making money. So I closed the corporation down. Well, you can make a certain amount of money, but he said it'd be better if you didn't have a corporation. My corporation was to help people with drugs and alcohol, specifically meth and heroin. Okay. 62. The reason I thought 62 would be good was my brother didn't make it to about 55 or 56. I mean 65 to 66. And my whole family died from heart problems, okay? Well, wouldn't I be a candidate to die from a heart problem? My brother was a university professor. He knew what to eat. He taught biology and chemistry in Fresno, California. Kenneth E. Wortham. Same last name as mine, of course, if you want to look him up. So I decided at 62 I better get on the bandwagon because I may die at 65 or 66 too. This is before I learned that Clint Eastwood is 95. I was at Clint Eastwood's town. He was a mayor. He was the mayor. I'm trying to think of the town in California. Starts with a C. He was the mayor there, and I think he had his own not cafeteria, but bar. Daggone, my memory's slipping. That's not Cabaret, California, but it starts with a C. You can maybe figure that out, but I may think of it before I get off. Now, are y'all going to hang on with me, or are you going to say that this guy's a deadbeat and he can't do his hair right, and he doesn't have a studio? He uses a $50 Dell computer with an internal mic and an internal mic and video. That's the truth. That's the truth. Carmel, Indiana. Yeah. Clint Eastwood, mayor of that town, Carmel, Indiana. I waited and waited and waited to see him, but I never got to see him. I said, when will he be in his bar? Nobody knew. He could be doing a movie. Okay. That's cool. That's cool. He deserves it. He's old enough to call his own shots. Well, I had to put that as an introduction to this video, because I told everybody yesterday it was going to be my last video. You can just go back to yesterday, and I corrected it to why I changed it from my last video. Do you want to know why? I mean, really, how anxious are you to know why I'm on the air when my last video was yesterday? Was shutting it down? Do you know why I didn't shut it down? I couldn't find the instructions to. I didn't look on YouTube. I was just looking on Google, and I said, it's too late. I gotta do this tomorrow. So I told everybody who listened to it, and you can listen to the whole unedited video I did. I didn't touch a thing. In fact, I think I was giving books away. Autograph books. You didn't know I was a writer? I was giving autograph books to anyone that listened to that video, that got my email address, that would say, I would like to have an autographed copy of one of your books that you wrote. They were all love poetry books written in the days of the hippies. Do you know how many people wanted it? Wanted an autograph book? And what they didn't know was they may be getting more than one autograph book. I'm that type of a guy. 3. 3 out of, well, yesterday I had about 500 subscribers, and what was so interesting is once I said I was closing down, I got 22 more subscriptions, when I hadn't gotten any for months. But those that believed I was closing down, yep, you know what I'm going to say. They decided to close me down. So I had all these closures of videos, and I had 23 people subscribing when they never have before. Now what kind of psychological, and I've been a psychologist, I really have, in Kentucky. I've been over here working in mental health with several licenses. I'm not going to talk about that because it's not important anymore. You can find me on www.healthgrades.com if you want to know what I used to look like. I used to look better. That's www.health, WEALTH, grades, GRADES.com. And if you are one of the people that I helped get off of meth and heroin and alcohol and all the other drugs, feel free to leave there's a spot there to leave a review. I'm not bragging, but I have nothing but 5-star reviews. That means 5 stars is the highest. And I'm not even a good therapist. But I listen to people. I listened to people and gave them feedback. And a few of the people gave me hugs. A few of the people were criminals. Some of the people were killers. Some of the people were killers that came back 2 or 3 times. And when they came back 2 or 3 times, the first thing they did was give me a hug. I won't mention these people, but in one case, it was a case several years ago, where 3 women were involved with kidnapping and burning a teenage girl, pouring gasoline all over her and lighting her on fire. And who did they send? Some of these, when they release them from prison, who gets to see them? I won't go further than that. But I did get a hug from one several times. It was a setup. The other girls didn't know that the one girl was going to kill this woman by fire. There's been 2 or 3 books written about her. I'm in Madison, Indiana. If you are interested in this, just because you like that type of thing of people who are doing criminal behavior, you'll not have any problem finding the Judge Todd, and the 3 girls, plus the one that they burned up. Now, here's the thing about tonight. Since people sent me messages last night, gosh, look at my hair looking good. Since people sent me nice messages last night, I'm going to talk as long as I want to, because I know a lot of y'all are going to cut me off. I hope you don't. But there was enough people that said good things that I thought some of them are listening to the whole thing I'm saying. One person wrote to me, I got to tell you this. This is too fantastic. Hold on just 1 minute. I'll be back. Yeah, I'm doing a video, but I'll be up. Yeah, I'm doing it. You know, it's great. It's great to have people in your home that hardly know you, that want to know if you're still alive, because you haven't gone up out of your man cave for a while. This guy writes to me. He doesn't know I was in this field. He helps people off of meth. He's probably watching it right now. He's one of the reasons I kept this on. He wrote so much, I would say it would be 3 pages on the comments. And he works with meth addicts, from what I gathered from his YouTube channel. And I read this and I thought, here's a guy that tells me if I help 1 or 2 people, keep it on. If something I say can touch someone in any way, I don't want to say the worst, but if I can keep you alive, help you get off drugs, help you with your bipolar disorder, which I think I have, because we're all human, aren't we? And go up and down in moods, bipolar. up and down, up and down. And well, I closed my office a couple years ago, and I'm going to put on that I'm going to do phone counseling and phone consultation. It will be on www. healthgrades.com. I have to update it. www.health, I already spelled it, health grades, like you're grading someone on their health, healthgrades.com. And of course I'm in Madison, Indiana, so all you gotta do is put Jim Wortham, Madison, Indiana. And if I helped you all, I don't know if you lived in Indiana or Kentucky, but if I helped any of you all, you can leave a review. You can leave a bad review, or you can put a good review. It doesn't matter at my age anymore, but I like good reviews. Okay. Daggone, I wish I was dressed better for you all. Are we having fun tonight? I want to help you. You know what I had to do this morning? I felt so down. I had to say to myself, this is a day the Lord has come. I will rejoice and be glad in it. No, wrong. This is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. 3 times. I think Teresa helps me. This is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be made in it. I did it because I knew it would help my mood. My mood. I don't sleep well, okay? I go to a special doctor to get medicine to sleep. And I hope you don't have to. I've been taken off by 3 sleeping medicines by the wrong doctors, and I found one which I'll see in a few days, and I will get a new prescription. But I've been doing well for the last 3 days. Been sleeping to noon, to about almost exactly at noon or 5 minutes before noon, I'll wake up. Well, I won't just wake up. I'll already be waking. But I won't look at the clock till then. Then I get up and I wash my hair and I get ready for the day. Put on something shabby like this. And I will go down and find something to eat. Do you know what I ate for breakfast? Watermelon. You get it from Kroger's. It's in a square plastic container. Okay. I'll do that. And sometimes I'll take this Atkins drink. chocolate, vanilla, strawberry. It's a meal replacement. I'm trying to lose weight. You can tell I need to lose weight, can't you? I'm being too honest with you all. I certainly am. I don't know if any of y'all are with me still. And I wish I was a comedian. You'd be listening to me now. If I was a comedian, nobody would drop out. Everybody would subscribe. See, I haven't been asking people to subscribe. That could be why no one until yesterday subscribed for a couple months. And here's the deal. You either like me or you don't. If you like my style, there's a button to hit subscribe. If you like me, if you like what I'm saying, there's a button to hit to say like. Well, that's wrong. Because I've been told if you don't have all these little round buzzard thing to push that says subscribe, or if you don't tell people to hit like, they're not going to do it. So you won't be a subscriber if you don't flash it across your screen half a dozen times. I think that's begging. Do you think it's begging? Well, here's the deal. I'll let you know what I've done in my life. I went to college in 1967 and dropped out. Yeah. I failed French. I made a D in my major, which was psychology, but it was statistics of psychology. Why do I need to know that? And so I dropped out. Kentucky Southern College. If you look it up, it was merged with University of Louisville. So anyhow, I'll tell you something that you will not want to hear. When I left Kentucky Southern College, after assortment of D's to A's, do you know what I did? I went to fill out the paperwork to go to Vietnam. Because I thought Vietnam would be more beneficial than staying in college. I didn't think I was college material. So I went to the enrollment center, and I remember it to this day. I passed everything until it became time. One last thing, and I would be a soldier, and I could choose to go to Vietnam. I didn't know how bad that might have been. But in the meantime, I got a letter from Western Kentucky University saying we're going to have our registration in February, while most colleges were in January. I thought, well, hell, they're not going to take me with my grades. I went to Western Kentucky University for 3 semesters, and I had everything from maybe an 1A to F's and D's. They're not going to take me. Well, anyhow, I went ahead and contacted them. This is before the final agreement to join the military and go to Vietnam. So I go to Western Kentucky University in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And I knew they wouldn't take me with my grades. Well, I met with the registrar. He's very kind. He looked at my transcript from Kentucky Southern College, and what he says is we won't be able to transfer the F's and the D's that are in your major, which was psychology. We won't be able to count those, but we can transfer them in, but they won't count toward your grade point average. I said, you gotta be kidding. You mean I can come here to Western Kentucky University in Bowling Green, Kentucky? One of the state colleges, one of the top state colleges in Kentucky? He said, well, sure. Well, sure you can. I didn't know if I cried. Or I just went silent. I started. And then I started getting deficiencies that were sent home to my mother, who called me up and said, why didn't you tell me this? And I said, what did you get? She said, in 2 classes you got deficiencies that got you down to a D. And I said, no, they can't do that. I'm doing better than that. So I went to the professors, and I found out that these 2 professors got my name mixed up because there were 2 Worthams. And they had contacted my mother, because at that time you could. And I ended up with A's in those 2 classes, by the way. And then as I go on, I needed money, and I worked for a Southwestern book company. If you don't know who they are, they're still alive. They're in Nashville, Indiana, and they do sell religious products, which I did for 2 years. And they told me something that didn't work for a while. They said if you had to go each summer each summer is when I had to sell books. Each summer I had to get my own money and go to 12 days. No, I'm sorry. 7 days of sales training. And they promised me if I did what they said during these 7 days, I would be a total success in whatever field I go into. I believed them. The first year, before I got enrolled in the Southwestern Book Company, I just happened to be interviewed by what became one of the top people at Southwestern Book Company, and he met me at Holiday Inn to interview me. His name's Spencer Hayes. You can look it up. I promise you. You look him up. Spencer, Spencer, Hayes, Hayes. Why he picked me to just have a chat, I have no idea. Because he had started there as a student and built his way up. And here I am, nothing. So we talked for a while. I leave. I'll tell you more about Spencer Hayes in a little bit, because he was a multimillionaire way after I met him the first time. He was a millionaire when I met him. He was just like me, except he had gone up, sold several Summers books, Christian books. You can look them up. If you look them up, I promise you, you will not feel sorry if you look them up on Google. Spencer Hayes. And I thought, wow, I'm meeting with someone important. Yeah, I was meeting with someone important. Little did I know how important he was going to be. I signed the paperwork. I joined the company. And I sold books in a rural town. And I didn't do too good. I didn't do too good because people slammed the doors in my face when I wanted to show them these books. That's all I'm going to say about that, because that seemed to happen quite a bit of the summer. And sold enough books to break even. Well, the next year, I was surprised. They said, "Would you like to come back with us again?" I thought, well, yeah, maybe I can do better. Which I did do better, by the way. I did do better. And I was finishing college. It was the last year. Became dorm director of a dormitory, which meant I got my food free and I got my, not food free, but I got my rent free. Maybe I got the food free too, because it wasn't really a dormitory. It was it was actually what do you call this? It was like it wasn't a dormitory. It was not an auditorium. It was a apartment complex that if I was director, I got free food, free rent, and that was pretty good because I was on 17th floor in Bowling Green in that particular facility, and it occasionally broke down. Can you imagine going up and down 17 flights of floor? Well, I was young then. I could do it. And I applied for jobs. I graduated there, and I applied for teaching jobs because I had a teaching certificate. I majored in psychology and sociology, and I never got a second interview. Not even sure if I got the first interview after I sent my transcript and sent the transcript in, and I didn't hear from them. I may have had one interview. Nobody wanted to hire me. There was a Sears Roebucks there. I went there. They wouldn't hire me. I was pitiful. I was shy. Almost like a recluse to them. And I ended up going back to Louisville, Kentucky. And from Louisville, Kentucky, I decided I had a bachelor's of arts degree in psychology and sociology. I'm going to get a PhD. I'm going to become a doctorate in psychology. Well, I went to University of Kentucky, and the head person that looked at my transcript said, "Did you think you were going to apply here?" And I smiled and I said, "Of course." And he said, "With your grades," and they weren't good. It was like 2.7 out of 4, grade point average. They wanted closer to 4, not what I had. And he looked at me and smiled, and he said, we can't take you. And there's not a university or college in America that will accept you into either a master's program or a doctoral program. So I left and I sold for Watkins Products for one day. I couldn't get in the door to sell vanilla extract or anything they had. I tried substitute teaching and had bad experience with that. Everything was going downhill, and the reason I'm telling you this is because sometimes you go downhill before you turn around and go up. And finally, after I was told never to apply to teach at a school where I taught 1 year in Bullitt County, Hebron Middle School, they told me never apply. No, they said, you can apply again, but we're not hiring you. And I ripped that up. I ripped that evaluation up. I'm glad I did. What would it do to keep it? Then I went home and got drunk. I went home and got drunk. And then what happened is this. I thought my mother went to Spalding University, and I had a couple friends that went there. Spalding's in Louisville. It's a university. Spalding University, if you look it up. And they have a doctorate degree in psychology too. But that's not what I was shooting for. I was shooting for the master's in psychology. They wouldn't let me in the doctorate in psychology because my grades were too low from Western. So, to make a long story short, I get off my drunken state and call them up and say, can I be interviewed to go to your master's program there at Spalding? Yeah. So I go. And they looked at my transcript and they said, we got to put you on probation if you plan to come here. You've missed your grade point average by 1 point. According to our catalog, and they showed me the catalog, I had to have 1 point higher on my grade point average than I did. I had to take the graduate record exam 3 times before they took me off probation. So, here we are. Studying so hard from the GED, that's graduate record exam, catalogs. What I did was I bought the study guides. Bought 3 of them. I finally made it. I finally got off probation. And then I went through the coursework. It was hard for me. It was very hard for me. Because it had been several years before I had been graduated. Several years. Things have changed. Psychology had changed. Lots of things changed. So I finally made it. I finally made it and got my master's degree. And then I had to take the psychology degree 3 times, national psychology degree 3 times. The first one being a national that I passed. The second one being a essay having to respond to questions that was on the essay exam, and the third one was oral exam. I passed the national exam and failed the other 2. It took me 2 more years, 3 more maybe, to get confidence enough to take the other exams and pass them. I didn't have to take the national one again. I had to take the oral and the essay. And I almost didn't take it. If it wasn't for my supervisor saying, hey, they're giving you a third chance, 3 and you're out, but I think you may pass this time. Do you know what I did? I actually got there early in Frankfort, Kentucky. That's where they had they were having the testing there, and I got there a couple hours early, and I went to a Kmart, and to keep my mind off of failing. This was my 3rd time. It's going to be an oral exam. I actually touched tires. I had to keep my mind off of the test. I would touch not projects, but things like tires from cars and trucks, and until time came for me to be tested. And I won't go into the details about how it happened, but the people were very generous that tested me, and I passed it within that day. And I became a clinical psychologist. At which time I worked in Kentucky for a while, and then I went over to Indiana, where I am now, and worked in the mental health field. I had 3 or 4 licenses because I had so many hours that I took, so many classes I took. So here I am with a licensed clinical social worker, licensed addiction clinical therapist, licensed school psychologist, and licensed what else was there I could be licensed in? Oh, that's enough. And then I built my own counseling center. What I mean by that is I leased in both Kentucky and Madison, Indiana. I leased big buildings to help people that the other facilities, and many of them were big facilities, offered one thing they didn't offer: kindness, openness, and if they didn't have money, I saw them. And I'm still in contact with some of them today. And I have to say, God, I think it had to be God, made it possible, because only one company hired me. That was LifeSpring Mental Health Facilities. That's what got me there in Madison, and I had to get I had to get off of that because I was working at night and day. And then I rented a space for $500 and got on every network of insurance and employee assistance programs, and it took a year. I saw people for free for up to a year. Well, I saw people free after that too, if they couldn't pay. But the reason I saw them for free is some of them had insurance, and I made a copy of the front and back of the insurance, and I applied to be on their network. I got on their network and I started getting paid. I'm bringing you up to where I went from there to leasing bigger buildings in both Carrollton, Kentucky and Madison. Nobody would work for me because they did not want to work without a guaranteed income. Okay? That's it. And I was working without a guaranteed income, and always did till I stopped working. And at this point, I'm still working only for one homebound person and telephone counseling, which I need to update on the internet, www.healthgrays.com. I need to put my new telephone number on there, the price, low price for help, if they can pay anything. And you can go there and read my reviews. I'm proud of them. Proud of those reviews. I'm proud that they kept them on there, even when I thought I was retiring. Now, we've gone an hour almost, and I don't expect anybody to have stayed with me. If you have, let me know on comments. Most of you have gone to sleep because it's 10 o'clock almost, Eastern Standard Time. And this is probably going to be the longest I ever do and the most comprehensive that I ever do. And I appreciate anyone that's made it this far. I appreciate you more than you know. Because most people will only watch for 5 or 6 minutes. We're going right now almost 59 minutes. I wish you a blessed day. I know I've been blessed. That's the only reason why I was able to share what I just shared. And it can happen to you too. It can happen to you too if you believe that it can happen and work it and not give up, like I almost gave up several times. And it's been an hour, and I want to thank you for watching, if you are still watching. Thank you.